Hello and welcome to this edition of Healthline. I'm Dr. Kevin Soden. You ever have a senior moment? Believe me, I certainly have. We've all forgotten things once in a while, and it definitely happens more often as we get older. But there's a new movement afoot to help seniors stay mentally sharp longer than ever before, using the power of technology.
Okay, so X varies directly with Y, right?
Joanne Baird loves to teach. As a teacher, tutor, and caseworker, she works with many different students with different abilities and has to constantly study herself to keep up with them. She noticed as she grew older that it took more effort to learn.
I'm a very determined person, but the degree of effort and time that it would take for me to remember information took longer. So I'd have to probably work about twice as hard as I had to work 20 years ago.
There were other things that were bothering her as well.
I would start losing words, or I would try to retrieve a word and then it wouldn't be there right away for me, and I have to wait for it to kick into long-term memory. That concerned me, kind of embarrassed me, and I didn't feel that I was really at the top of my game.
A friend told her about a study of some educational software for seniors, and Joanne decided to give it a try. The computer program was developed by the Posit Science Company, part of a growing revolution in using computer games to keep our minds sharp as we age. Dr. Michael Merzenich is one of the co-founders.
The initial program suite that we developed focuses on language. And the choice of language as an initial target is based upon the fact that our language operations very substantially degrade as we age in a normal lifespan.
Dr. Merzenich's research showed that specially designed exercises could help the brain actually improve its processing speed, the accuracy of interpreting information, and even help us learn better as we grow older. He found that as the brain ages, it becomes harder to receive information, like a radio stuck between stations. With work, the signal can become clearer. Joanne started working on the program at home. She used the exercises almost every day.
Well, it's fun, but it's demanding because you think, oh, God, you know, am I okay? Am I going to get this? And then you keep at it, and oh, yeah, okay, oh, I got that, I heard that. And something you thought you didn't hear before, then you heard it, and you got it. So it's fun, but it can be a little intimidating.
Joanne saw results after just a few weeks.
When I do the Posit Science on a regular basis, then everything else is easier.
Joanne has taken what she's learned and now feels she can give even more to her students.
I've learned that I have to appreciate myself and my gifts. And by doing that, then I can give those to the children.
The program Joanne was using is called Posit Science. It's just one of the dozens of memory-enhancing products on the market. We'll look at some of the others a little later in the show. But joining us to discuss these brain exercises, or neurobics, is clinical and neuropsychologist Dr. Sid Brown. Dr. Brown, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me exactly, what is neurobics? It's a new term for us.
Neurobics is a term which describes exercises for the brain. It parallels aerobics, which is exercises for the body. And it's very clear the research done over the past several years clearly has coalesced to say that both being physically active and mentally active is the best way to protect your brain's health as you get older.
Well, you know, let's say like aerobics, for instance. Use it or lose it.
Very much so.
Is the brain the same thing like Joanne saw in this video segment?
Absolutely. There's been some extraordinary research over the past couple of years which shows that, in fact, new neurons and connections between neurons continue to develop even as you get old. Now, we all lose brain cells throughout our life. That's okay. But if you lose too many and don't gain new ones, then you're going to have cognitive decline. And so if you can exercise your brain through neurobics and other programs, such as the one we saw, that will protect your brain.
Great. Welcome back to Healthline. We're here with Professor Andrew Carl from George Mason University, and our topic is brain games. I'm going to ask you first about, what about some of these low-tech things that we see that are very easy to get to, like crossword puzzles or Sudoku, and that's, how are they in terms of health?
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, anything you do to stretch your challenge your brain or stretch your cognitive skills is a good thing. You know, the limits to them are kind of also pretty straight up. You know, if you only do sit-ups, you're gonna, you know, make your abdominal muscles better. The idea behind some of these new products that are coming out are kind of like cross-training. You know, train the whole brain. And so that's where maybe they go a little bit farther than if only you did crossword puzzles or only if you played bridge, although either one of those are very good things to do.
Let's talk about some of the games we saw in the story. The Nintendo for Grandma.
Yeah.
You know, tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Nintendo basically, you know, we think Nintendo, we think teenagers. But they're actually coming out with kind of a set of products now, several of them actually, that are kind of looking at boomers and understanding that boomers may want to be engaged in this. So they have a couple of games right now, the two that we tried that day. One's called Brain Age, developed by a Japanese neuroscientist, actually. The other one's called Big Brain Academy, which are similar games but kind of packaged differently, maybe even kind of in a more fun kind of way. What's nice about them, now Nintendo, by the way, doesn't claim that these are scientifically, you know, empirically studied or anything else. But what they do know is they are based on scientific principles in neuroscience, and they do stretch your brain and exercise your brain. What's nice about them is, you know, they're readily available. I mean, you can go out today to Walmart or Target or Best Buy and buy a Nintendo DS for $129. I think the games are $20 to $30 each, and you can start playing them today. What I like about it, is fun for me to see, is that you can play with your grandkids. And my daughter, who's 12, had a great time over the holidays playing against her 73-year-old grandfather in Brain Age and comparing their brain ages to each other. So that's kind of a neat little twist with the Nintendo that you don't see with some of the other ones.
Yeah, and it's a neat way to keep the family together and kind of get to know it.
And it gets you to use it.
Yeah. What about some of the software programs that we could put on our computer, like Posit Science and Mind Game, that sort of thing?
Posit Science and MindFit from a company called Cognifit's another one. And these are more scientifically developed. In fact, they are scientifically developed software. You order it, you upload it into your computer, and these are training systems. I mean, these companies basically position themselves as kind of like hiring a fitness trainer to come to your house. Yeah. These are brain trainers who come to your house via your computer, basically. And you log on every morning, and they have very defined, and we can talk about it, but very defined training regimens that you go through, at the end of which you can measure the results. So they're another level up, and they cost more money as well.
And how much do they cost?
Well, the Posit Science is, I think, $395 for one user, $495 for two users, so say a husband and a wife, you know, a couple want to use it. And then the MindFit is $129 to $149, depending on how you order it. But that's for one user. For every user you add, you would add another $129. So, and of course, you need a computer. So these are another level up, but they are much more sophisticated and, again, you know, scientifically driven.
So how would I know if I needed to use this even? You know, if I wanted to invest this money, but would I say, well, I don't know, I think I'm okay. I forget things once in a while, but how would I know if I needed to use it?
Well, physiologically, by definition, after age 50, we all start to, you know, deteriorate a little bit in our cognitive skills. I mean, Nolan Ryan stopped pitching because he couldn't throw a fastball anymore at 100 miles an hour at age 50. It doesn't mean we aren't functioning, yeah. But we could benefit from, just as we could benefit, and it gets harder to stay in shape physically, after about age 50, pretty much all of us could benefit from exercising our brain just as we could benefit from exercising our bodies. Now, that said, at what level do you need the benefit? It just depends. But generally speaking, it's not a bad idea for all of us to at least begin thinking about this after age 50.
You sold me already. Any other online games that people could access via the internet that you would say recommend to them to help their brain function?
Well, there are several online games where you don't have to order software, you don't have to go out to the retailer and buy a piece of equipment. If you have a computer, you can go online. There are a lot of them out there, of course, because it's such a big market. The largest one out there right now with the most members is online. It's called mybraintrainer.com. And I think about 12,000 members. It's only $9.95 for an entire year.
Wow.
So basically for $10, you can become a member for the entire year. And you can log on with a password. They have 19 different exercises or games that you can do. It's not targeted just for seniors. Anybody down to, you know, teenagers play it all the way through. But what's nice is as you play the different exercises, you can compare your results to people your own age. You can compare your results to an 18-year-old. You can compare by occupation. They even have some fun little things where you can compare. If you're a cat lover, you can compare how you did compared to dog lovers. So they do some fun things on there. It's not as scientifically based as Posit Science or MindFit, but it is a lot of fun.